Good morning, everybody. I'm Danny.
And I'm Spoo. Welcome to the show.
Now, today's topic's going to be, we're going to be shooting off the hip a little bit here.
Yeah. Total riffing here, so if we get off on a tangent, it happens. But we're going to be discussing something that's a little near and dear to my heart, especially, and I'm sure Danny can agree. But that is, it's been quite a while since I've seen a good horror movie. Seems like, you go back to the 80s, just even the 90s, and you watch horror movies from then, and that's where all your classics come from. Your Nightmare on Elm Street, your Friday the 13th, your Halloweens. I mean, granted, you're going back to the 70s, but the bulk of those series took place during the 80s, and they were good. They were classics, instant classics. Now, you have things like Annabelle, The Conjuring.
The Conjuring and Centipede. And
they're just, I know a lot of people love The Conjuring. I hated it. Oh, I hated it. But movies now, the biggest problems are like they're too clean. Like back then they were dark, they were gritty. Now the colors all pop and it's not scary because it's too clear. It's in high definition. You can, I don't know, but a number of reasons. But, so today we're going to discuss ways that we can make those things better.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, Shpoo. I think the biggest thing that I have against horror movies now versus horror movies back then is it seems like we've over-sensationalized the gore factor in certain horror movies. Now he's going to disagree, and that's fine. That's part of what this is. I'm of the classic horror, the dark, creepy horror, the Hitchcock horror,
I love Hitchcock.
The old time Dracula, the Nosferatu, where people can tell so much of a story with a few drops of blood and a pullback blurry shot than you can with seeing somebody ripped up and destroyed.
Perfect example, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. One of the, a little cheesy when it comes to like dialogue and stuff like that, but still one of the most iconic horror movies of all time. And watch it again. There is almost no blood in that movie.
Yeah, no, it's all psychological. It's the story of it all.
Mm-hmm. And the blood that you do see is like when she's covered in blood and whatever. But as far as wounds, bleeding, you don't see it.
No.
When the guy gets hung on the meat hook, no blood. Things like that. And that was mainly because of, in order to even get it to not have an X rating.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is that they could make it with no blood, and it's still that iconic of a horror movie. And that's kind of my point, is now everything's so cookie cutter. You know where it's going to go. You know when the jump scares are going to happen.
Exactly.
And when you do see things, it's not even necessarily the gore. I mean, you do have now there's so many subgenres of horror movies. You've got your gore, you've got your slasher flicks, you've got psychological horror, you've got supernatural horror, you've got paranormal horror, you've got the paranormal series that needs to just go away altogether.
Yeah.
Ooh, the door opened! Terror!
Forever unnamed.
Yeah.
But no, I think one of the biggest factors is people nowadays need to, at least far as directors and writers need to do, is in my opinion, they need to go back to the storytelling. Why is this creepy as opposed to, oh my God, there's a body hanging from a ceiling?
I think what you're trying to say is they shouldn't have to tell you that it's scary.
No.
The scene should speak for itself.
It should.
You mentioned Hitchcock. Hitchcock was a brilliant filmmaker, and he actually went as far as to say that it's what you don't see that makes it scary, because what you don't see allows your mind to create the scene for you in your own head, and your own imagination will automatically take you to your worst fears. So, in a very literal sense, you are creating the fear yourself. And that's going to be the biggest scary thing possible.
Yeah, I have to agree. Just pulling back and looking at the genre as a whole, like you said earlier, so many different aspects. And, we can't possibly cover them all in any given time. But storytelling. What do you not see? Again, like you said, what don't you see should be the biggest factor in a lot of these movies. Sound, audio plays a big point. I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in the Foley art of it.
I saw her face.
Speaking of sound, that actually leads me to my point number one, as far as something that can a very simple thing that could be done that would make things way more terrifying. Zombies are big right now. Take your Walking Dead, take anything like that where you've got zombie movies, what have you. Zombies are dead, right? Okay, so there's no blood pumping through the body, heart's not beating, they're not breathing. Okay, well if they're not breathing, how are they making sounds?
Exactly.
How are they? Why do they moan? Why do they make that sound on Walking Dead?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine a zombie film? Now, granted, it would make it a little boring, perhaps, but imagine how terrified you would be if there's this undead cannibal walking up behind you, making no sound at all.
I think that would be the pinnacle of a zombie film, because at that point,
Like ninja zombies.
Yeah, you don't know where they are. You're walking through the forest, like take Walking Dead. Yeah. You're going to walk through your forest, and the only reason they react the way they do is because they hear that audio cue.
Mm-hmm. No, you're still going to hear them, shambling through the leaves and whatever on the ground.
But you're not going to have that throaty, I've got phlegm in my throat sound.
Right, exactly. And, so if you're in a city setting or whatever, you're not going to have any kind of warning that you're about to stumble upon one, and it's going to make it far easier for them to get you. Mm-hmm. So, hey, there's your scare.
Yeah.
Point number two that I've got, stop focusing on a damn love story and or comic relief.
Yeah, there's no need in that. You're doing a horror film.
Yeah,
for
the idea is to be scared.
To be scared. I don't need to see teenagers in love.
We don't need to see a will they won't they storyline going on, or some dude that I get to laugh at. The idea behind the comic relief of it is to give you some kind. It's the relief, exactly what it says there. It gives you a relief from the scare. So you're not making a horror movie. You're making a comedy that's got some scary moments in it, and that's just dumb. I want to see, and I actually started to write. Well, not necessarily write, but I started to work on a zombie movie that I called Moot Point, and I'll explain that. A few things about it. Number one, there was no love interest. There was no comic relief. There also was no script. I had certain characters that would have scripts, or at least an outline of a story to push the plot forward. But as far as my main characters are concerned, there was no script for it. So it almost ran like a live-action role-playing game, where my zombies are my NPCs and my cast are my players. So if someone's boring me or I don't think they're working hard enough for it, I can tell my zombies, okay, you're about to go in and attack. Whatever you have to do, make sure this guy dies. So the fear is real. My actors are literally acting for their lives. They don't know if they're going to live or die in the scene, so it creates a genuine sense of fear. So it's kind of like the Blair Witch Project. A lot of people didn't like the Blair Witch Project because it was so jumpy and all of that stuff and whatever. However, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you like that movie or not. That is one of the most ingenious movies ever made. They ran them ragged until they were exhausted. They didn't allow them to sleep, so that they were always on edge. They would intentionally start arguments with, in between the three. They intentionally pulled Josh out at one point. Look it up. Basically, you had a number of people that were standing 100 yards from them at all times, just making noises, just to mess with their heads. So the fear that you see in that movie is 100% real.
Well, it totally, what it did is it created a whole subgenre of filmmaking.
Oh, yeah.
The whole first-person found footage came from the original Blair Witch Project. And for its time, it was incredibly scary. I remember seeing it in the theaters, and we literally walked out in a pack And I've never experienced that in any other movie, where a group of people that do not know each other.
Well, the better thing about it, not only did it wasn't the first found footage movie, but it made it popular, but it also brought viral marketing into the limelight.
Yeah, it really, first internet age movie, you think?
Well, I mean, with I don't know about that. I mean, it was kind of right there at the beginning of it, I guess. But you know, there were so many people. I actually remember speaking to somebody just a few years ago that still thought that the three people in the Blair Witch Project were genuinely missing. You know, let's ignore the fact that Heather was in Steak and Shake commercials.
Yeah, and they went on to a few other
Josh
projects.
has done quite a bit, but yeah, but yeah. So I mean, there was so many the fake missing posters, the documentaries, different things that came out. That was the beginning of viral marketing, and that's you know what made it great.
And we see the viral marketing has gone on to various other movies now. It's everywhere now, including the shall not be named horror movie with the on the glass window. You know, the paranormal.
Oh yeah. Sleepwalking, the movie.
Number 3 that I have as far as what we could do to make horror films better is I want to see more black and white.
Yeah.
Noir style? You know, little noir style going back. I think not everything out there is deserving of black and white, but I think we are, as a culture, so driven by everyth's 4K, 1080p. You know, let's do something old school. Let's go back to a black and white, gritty 33, 34, 24 millimeter film, and let's shoot it like that. You know, I understand everything wants to be digitally stabilized and got to be perfect, and for lack of a better term, Lucas filmed.
That's exactly what I kind of started off with. It's too clean.
Yeah, it is.
It's too clean. It's too high of a high definition. Which, you know, I mentioned The Conjuring. I despised that movie. I absolutely hated it. And there are a lot of things that are out there that are universally loved that I hate. I'm a free thinker. I'm sorry. And I'm sure that everybody has those things. And actually, I think that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So a little preview there for you. But we ran long yesterday, so we're going to wrap things up today. But you know, give us some of your thoughts. You know, what are some things that you think would improve horror out there? Make it scary again. You know, make it. I say fun, but not funny, but just enjoyable to watch. Yeah, exciting, exhilarating, you know, that type of thing. But put it in the comments. Give us your ideas, your thoughts, your opinions.
Hey, you know what? While on that same topic, why don't we, if you got a top 5, let us know what your top 5 horror movies of all time might be.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You know, just a little throwing something else out there, but you know,
throw those out there, and when we talk about movies next time, we'll give you know which horror movie won as the greatest horror movie of all time. So leave those in the comments. Like, share, and please subscribe. More importantly, you know, definitely get it out there, get the word out there, bring a friend in, watch the show with them, and get them to subscribe as well. So, hope you've enjoyed the show. My name is Shmoo.
And I'm Danny. And now, your Russian clip of the day.
He got it right.
We